Today, we're going to continue to build. The very first day, we took data, we took information, and we made a scatter plot so we can compare it. We found our scale, and we graphed it on a coordinate plane. Yesterday, we then took the data that we graphed, and we identified what is the correlation, what is the gap, the cluster, the outliers. Today, we are going to continue to look at our data and make something called a line of fit. Open up your foldables to the one that says line of fit. What is a line of best fit? We are going to say it is a line that passes as closely as possible to all the points. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. Line of best fit. So when I ask you what is line of best fit, you're going to be looking for a straight line that passes as close to all the points as possible. To the right, I'm going to write 4 other key components to a line of fit. That's really important to help you identify it and to make yours. 1. It has to be a straight line. When you do your homework, when you do your tests, when you do this in real life, do not freehand your line. Use a ruler, use the side of your cell phone, use your binder, use another pencil, use a notebook, use anything else to help make a straight line. Probably don't use your phone in class. Same correlation. When I say your line will have the same correlation, what I mean by that is if your scatter plot has a positive correlation, it goes up from the bottom left to the top right, your line of fit will also be a positive, which is like our slope. And then actually I'm going to kind of combine a couple. I'm just going to say points even on both sides of the line. I'll zoom in so you guys can see all this. So I'm just going to make this out of 3 things that are very important. 1, your line has to be completely straight as you can. It needs to have the same correlation. If you have a positive correlation, you have a positive line. If you have a negative correlation, negative line. And the last one, it's kind of 2 parts. When I say the points are even on both sides of the line, what I'm meaning by that, there's 2 things. 1, your line should cut through the middle of all your points. All your points are as close to that line as possible. Your line should have about the same amount of points on top as it is below it. Does that mean if I did 100 pieces of data that I'm expecting you guys to count and make sure there's 50 and 50? Yes. No, I'm not going to make you do that. You might end up with 40 and 60. But you're going to get as close as you can. The other thing is the distance in between the points. Just because I have 10 on one side and 10 on the other, you also want to make sure that they're spaced out away from that line the same amount. When we get into today's example, it will make sense. Look at the first example. We are going to have a dum-dum question here in a second. On this first one, here is my scatter plot. They went ahead, they already plotted all of our points. And I'm going to highlight just so you guys can see. They gave us 3 lines, and we need to identify which one of them, without shouting out yet, which one do we feel is the line of best fit? So if I look at these 3, look at your criteria. Which one of them, I know my lines when I highlighted might not have been all straight, so pretend they're all straight. Which one of these lines, the yellow one, which is line T, the blue is line X, or the green is line U, which one of those lines do you think has the same correlation, is in the middle of all the dots? All the dots are as close to that line as possible, and they're evenly spaced out. Ooh, a number of people nailed this. Braden, what do you think, huh?
The green one.
Absolutely. Why is the yellow one wrong? There's there's these dots. Yeah, they're not real close to the line, right? Also, this is a negative slope. What type of correlation do we have? So it can't be this one. Wait a minute. Blue is a positive correlation. So why is blue not right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. They have the same amount of dots on each side. They're evenly spaced. These are about that far away. That fits almost all the rules, right? Bryce?
Because the blue line's not following the dots.
Good. The blue line, really, even though it is a positive slope, it's not really following that trend. And it's not cutting through the middle. Not all the dots are as close to the line as possible. Do you guys remember I keep saying trend? I keep mentioning all our dots trend. When we do line of best fit, a lot of times we can also call it our trend line. Now, I look at this green one, it's the best. I have about the same amount of dots on both sides. It goes through the middle of all the data. So it's like my gazer beam. All the guys are there and it shot straight down the middle. Here's the one that you are going to get your sucker for. On this one, for our discussion point, I'm sorry, I forgot to do one thing. We have to identify right here. Make sure you write line U. Line U. Okay. On this one, take a couple seconds, talk to your neighbors, see if you guys agree. I'm going to give a sucker to whoever can identify the line. Oh, but it's not just guessing which line. You also have to prove to me with 2 explanations. Why isn't that line? You have to give me 2 reasons. Hey, look, this sucker's open. All right, so. All right, Dylan, which line do you think? No. Damari, which one? No. Well, then don't make comments when other people are attempting. Be respectful. Okay, so we have yellow. Why is it yellow? Caden? Say that again. I couldn't hear everything. Passes through the majority of the dots. That's reason 1. What's one other reason, Caden? It passed through the majority of the dots, and what's one other reason? Perfect.
I literally just gave him that.
Has the same correlation. It's a negative correlation and negative slope. Okay, let's do this together. Can you draw a line of fit? We're going to do it together right now. We're going to do 2 examples, and then you're going to do 1, and I'll see for a point. Okay.
Wait, what was the only doing for the why do we need this?
You're going to see. We'll go for it in a second. All right. Oh, gentlemen, I got a few people starting to get off task. Ricky, having a seat, please. If you need a ruler, they're up here. But if you're borrowing one of the rulers, bring a badge up. You have to bring something and leave it up here if you're borrowing one of my supplies.
Do you
have to use ruler?
All right.
Sicily.
The video is still recording.
I know. Shut them up straight. Don't freehand. All right. Look at this first one. Let's stay on task so we can get down. On this very first one, notice where I made my line. There's two things I want to point out. Straight line. Okay. Notice. I want to make sure you guys can do this today. Because there's a couple mistakes I'm going to see. Damari, follow along with me and not be talking, please. Okay. Straight line. Do not freehand it, use a ruler, or use something. Notice that mine is going through the middle. I have about the same amount of points on each one. The other part, make your line so it goes through your y-axis for me. Get in that habit. Don't stop it short. Go all the way through this y-axis. Tomorrow, we're going to be using that y-axis. Can anyone tell me, what do you think my y-intercept is on this one? Where did that line cut through the y-axis? Cohen?
I know.
Wait, what? The Y?
Yeah, where's it? What do you think on yours? Huh? Probably about 5. What we're going to do is we're going to estimate about that. So don't worry about it. It's about 5. Now, my line I drew, is mine exactly the same as yours?
No.
Maybe not. Is that okay?
Yes.
With scatter plots, our lines might not be the same. But I'm going to use this word, similar. Damien, I need you to make sure you're focusing. You've missed a couple days. This is pretty important. We have to have lines that are similar. Meaning we might be off just a little bit, but they're going to be close. You cannot have a line that looks like this. Well, if I get through there. Why is this line not good? Why is the purple one? Why is the purple one not okay, Tyler?
Because it doesn't go through the middle.
It's not going through the middle.
Half the dots.
Okay. Go ahead. Make sure you've done all 4. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Do it for a dumb dumb. I'll do it for a Scooby snack.
I'll do anything.
Cohen, let's act appropriate now. Like a little kid.
That was Brayden. That was Brayden.
Wait, that was Brayden?
Oh, it's Brayden?
I know Brayden.
Guys, you're starting to talk too much.
Does it have to be on like this? Does it always have to like, if there's like a dot at the end? Does it have to get that bottom dot?
No.
So this line's good? Okay.
Alright, Cohen just asked a great question, and someone else asked that to me an hour ago, right? So, 2 things. 1, in the 1 class period, a student asked, does it have to go through 0? No. That's when we have a y-intercept. It's okay, it doesn't have to go through 0. Cohen just said, hey, does this one have to go through this point here? No, it doesn't. On mine, when I'm making this one, to be honest, I question this one. This is why we want more dots. The more data you have, the easier this becomes. But with this one, I look at my line that I made right here, and I'm like, okay, they're even, they're even. This one is kind of on the trend line. I can get it. Maybe it's an outlier. If I would have made my line like this, hey, please quit messing with the ruler, Cohen.
I was actually
Oh, Dylan. I saw her look at you. I thought she was talking to you. Dylan. So, maybe I had it like this. This line didn't even go through any of the points except for the one at the very bottom. This is why our lines might be a little bit different. It's up to our little bit of interpretation. I'm going to do the fourth one, and then I'm going to come back and talk about the last one. Now look at this one. Oops.
That was too fine. Don't you have a ruler?
No. Yeah, that one.
No.
Yeah, that
No,
one.
no,
That
no, no.
right there.
Yeah, right
No,
there.
right there.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, right
Okay.
No.
So there should be that line. Let's look at this one. Okay. What's the only problem with number 3?
It's like curved. It's hard.
Oh, so hold on. Whoa. Guys, you're starting to get up fast, but you guys are doing really good comments. The ones that are focused. Braden said it's a curved line. It's kind of curved. If you go back to that very first one, I see Rylan was flipping through it. We have 4 types of scatter plots. Positive, negative, no correlation, and a non-linear. So if it's curved, if it's non-linear, Cohen said make it a curved line. What was the rule about our line though? What was the first thing we wrote on that? It has to be straight. Now, if it's called a non-linear, would have a. On this one, this is a really bad example because we don't have enough data to see if it is curved. Ricky, Andrew.
Ricky, stop.
You guys are just playing around.
I was about to say something.
Okay. The only thing is, on here,
He put it in there.
I could be close to making a line. And it looked like maybe I have an outlier. It's kind of questioning. I agree with you. We're just doing this as an example. If you end up putting this line on there for right now, it would be okay. Because based off how many data points we have, I would understand. Good morning, David. Let's get those out of our hair. Because now you're just being silly. If you guys want to go somewhere else, you can.
No, it actually got caught on my hair now. It's floating.
Now, if I see this line, I can be okay with it. However, I truly believe if we put more data points in, Braden would be 100% accurate in saying this is a curved line, which we would not be able to put our trend line in.
Well, that might just be like an outlier.
Okay, let's finish up a couple things. Now, why are we even making these lines? So go back up to this top. Why do we even need these lines of fit? Or lines of best fit? Or why do we need these trend lines? Tyler?
Find and or check that out.
Close.
To see where it
Not to find, but we're going to say to predict and or interpret data. Our trend line, our lines of best fit, when we make these lines, I'm able to guess where my other data would fall. Remember, the more data you have, the more accurate. But if I was to look at this one, I'm just going to use the second one just to show you. Because I put that trend line in, if I said someone got 5, whatever this is, if I looked at my piece of information, you said 5. I would be able to guess. I'd come straight up. I would guess your information should be right there saying, if you had 5, the other one should be 35. That is how they are relating to one another. That is the importance of trend lines. Tomorrow, would you look for bed? I think it's up on the thing. Tomorrow, what you are going to be doing is we're going to look at our lines that we made, and we're going to go back to what we did first semester, and we're going to write the equation for that line. When we write that equation, that tells us the equation for our scatter plot, where we think our information will lie. Here's your homework. We're going to do the one part today. We did a pretty good discussion. The other part, I'm not as worried about. We might do it as a whole class activity. I'll give out the suckers for it. Actually, let's do that. We'll do that right away. Let's finish this, and then I'll give out the suckers if everyone's listening. Your homework. And if you guys don't get it done, I'm going to drop kick you.
Yeah.
Probably should say that. That's on YouTube. They'd be like, oh, there's proof. He's pregnant. Okay. You have 3 graphs, right? On our 3 graphs, all of a sudden there'll be a little cut area on like. Okay, we have 3 scatter plots. You should have already had them done. Because day 1, you used your information, you made a scatter plot. Day 2, you wrote out the correlation. Today, you have to draw the line of best fit for each one. How many lines do you have to make total then? 3. That is your homework. You're done already? Yep. And I will grade it tomorrow whether you have it complete. You should be able to get this done in class. So, you're going to look at your homework.